Shalom and welcome to Once Upon a Soul, an exploration of 68 unique stories inspired by the teachings of Rav Asher Freund, Zatzal. This podcast series is sponsored in loving memory of Mrs. Klari Safran, Alea HaShalom. May the neshama of Rivka Sarah Bas Reb Yehושע have an aliyah. Ma'aseh b'Levana, there was a story with the moon. Sha'alsa, it rose, v'hachala laha'ir al pnei ha'aretz, and it began to shine upon the earth. Be'ira gavayis v'harim amakim v'ya'ares, and it illuminated hills, and mountains, and valleys, and forests. V'chashva la'atzma, and it began to think to itself, cheshchas ha'aretz li livracha. The darkness of the earth is a blessing to me. Kolaymar, meaning to say, she'im loy hoisa aretz kayemes, if the earth didn't exist, ve'im loy halsa chashucha, and if it wasn't dark, so the moon thinks to itself, loy hoya nikar ha'ar sheli, bechlal, my light would be imperceptible, v'loy poel klum, and it wouldn't accomplish anything. The chazar va'amra, and it repeated, and it said to itself again, Cheshchas ha'aretz li livracha. The darkness of the earth, it's such a blessing to me. Because that's the way that my light is able to be demonstrated and comes to expression in a meaningful way. But suddenly, Vishim'a, all of a sudden, it began to hear, Shahashemesh oimeres, that the sun was saying, Cheshchas halavana li livracha. The darkness of the moon is such a blessing to me. This is what the moon hears the sun saying. The moon is busy saying that it's such a blessing that the earth is dark because its light is then able to extend and spread over the darkness of the earth, and it's able to illuminate that darkness. But in the meantime, the sun is saying, the darkness of the moon is such a blessing to me. And then the Mechaber ends this story with these four enigmatic words, V'yoser mizeh, and further than this, pachad l'shmaya. The moon was too terrified to listen. It was too terrified to hear further. And perhaps what this means is that it balked at the idea that there was something beyond the sun saying, Cheshchas hashemesh li livracha. The darkness of the sun is a blessing to me. Meaning to say, the moon began to understand that the same way the earth wasn't essentially illuminated, but it derived its illumination from the moon itself has no light of its own. It derives its light from the sun. And then it understood that the sun also doesn't have any light of its own. It derives it from a source beyond. And pachad l'shmaya, this that the moon was afraid to hear more than this, could be hinting to us and intimating the sod, the secret of Yiras Shamayim. That this fear, this awe of Hashem that a Jew is commanded to have, is rooted in this experience of understanding that the shoirish, the root of life, comes from beyond. That there are kalim for this light. And then those kalim make it seem as if they become the light source to the kalim that are under them. And then those kalim shine to the kalim below them. For the truth is they're all dark. Like the Pasach Eliyahu tells us, all spiritual vessels, all the different levels of the Seder Shtalshalus, of the chain of emanation, the cascade of godliness, they're all lifeless in relation to the source of light. When we understand that the earth doesn't have light, it gets its light from the moon. And the moon doesn't have light, it gets its light from the sun. But the sun also doesn't have light. It gets its light from that which is beyond it, and so on and so forth, until we come to the Ikra V'Sharsha D'Kula Almin, to the root of creation, to the Echad Yachid Umiyuchad, to the one and only, to the Ein Sof. And this is the source of Yiras Shamayim. When a Jew is able to understand this, whoa, It's a whole series of inadequate vessels that all, each and every one of them, without exception, rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu's illumination alone. Thank you so much for listening, and wishing you the most wonderful day.